the master of horror. Very few people have been given that name. H.P. Lovecraft, John Carpenter, maybe, Clive Barker. But probably the man with the most legitimate claim to the name would be Stephen King. How have we avoided deep fat frying him? Well, that wrong is about to be righted. Maine's own main man, Stephen King, gets deep fat fried. Turned a little red on that.
I feel like I channeled your Kamehameha.
You did.
You said it, and I channeled the energy into the audience. Dude, they are hype right now.
All right, TJ. Really good intro, man. Just make sure you carry that energy the entire way through the show.
Oh, you damn right, Scotty. No fucking problem, bro.
Some energy, TJ.
By the way, TJ, this is it's interesting you pulled this picture of Stephen King because this is how you're supposed to use a banana.
Wow.
You see Stephen King peeling and eating the banana. You see how he's not bent over,
some
keystering
say
it.
Potato, some say potato. Some say you're supposed to eat a banana.
You know what, TJ?
Not I.
And probably because he's a wise investor. I bet you probably invested with Monkey. Probably got a lot of bananas in return.
He probably did.
Poor guy.
Monkeys. Don't even fucking bring Monkey up to me, all right?
Sorry, man.
I don't want to hear about that, motherfucker.
I mean, Monkey does,
Dude, you're
Monkey
sour
does
grapes with Monkey. You need to just come to terms, TJ.
I guess I do. I love how he's got like a little jar of honey in the background. Like, what is that for?
I mean,
it's
probably
clearly
for his
not
tea or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe he puts it in his tea. I like to just imagine he just sits there and like sucks on the honey thing.
Probably not, because he's got like flipped over on the cap. That just means he's probably a drizzler. You know what I mean?
I like to drizzle honey on my tea.
Probably has a little drizzle of honey on tea or on his morning oatmeal or some shit. And
I was talking to you about this phenomena earlier, Paul, but like Stephen King, he looked like a weird dude when he was younger. And I guess he still looks weird, but he looks less weird as he's old. And I think you were saying something about how it's because everyone that's old looks weird.
Yeah. I mean, getting to a certain level of old makes everybody look pretty like weird. It's very rare to find somebody who ages what they would call gracefully. And so it's like Stephen King's weird looks don't look as weird the older he gets. Because
he is 74 now.
Yeah. I mean, he's old.
He's a tall guy like me, 6'4", pretty impressively tall guy. Born on September 21st, which, it was not too long ago.
Dude, I didn't realize he was that tall. I was kind of like imagined that Stephen King was kind of like a middling presence. So I didn't know he actually like loomed over you in the same way that you do.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to tell who's tall from like photos or even TV appearances and stuff like that. But yeah, he's a tall guy, 6'4". I mean, he might have shed an inch or two as he's gotten older. But he looks like his posture is still pretty good and stuff. So
for an old guy,
yeah. I haven't seen him standing up in a while, so I don't know. But
is that hair real?
Doesn't
Or is that
fucking
a
look like
rug?
it, does it? That
Yeah.
does, we might hold on. We might need to delve in a little deeper here.
We might need to zoom in a little deeper, but I'm thinking my initial reaction is that is a rug up there.
It's too straight right here, isn't it?
It looks like his hair.
Look the way it wraps around to his temple too.
Hold on,
his sideburn is in the wrong place. Yeah, that's a rug. It's a rug.
Shit. Like this is like
it's a rug.
I mean, there's a straight line right here that doesn't seem plausible.
Well, look at the sideburn area. It's like coming off of his ear where it shouldn't. Like his sideburn should be right there along the side of his head. They're too far back. Yeah, this is a rug, dude. He's got some kind of like weave thing, probably.
He's got like hair clip for men or some shit.
Well, nowadays, I think the more common thing that they do is and they're actually pretty good. This might be like a particularly bad day, or maybe he needs to go get it freshened up or something. But like, they'll just weave that shit to whatever hair you've got left. If they clean it up properly, it looks pretty fucking real. But I'm thinking this is a rug, dude.
Well, dude, that's Stephen King a month ago.
Yeah, I want to. That's why I want to see him in motion recently because I feel like it's hard to judge from a photo. It could just be an unflattering photo that has a weird angle. Let's take a look in motion here.
This is a bad fucking camera, though.
It is a bad camera, but it's recent.
And we can't hear him either.
I turned up the volume because I just want to look at his hair.
He's got it feathered better in the front, so that line you were talking about is less apparent.
The line is like more hidden.
I see no reason to believe, from what I'm looking at here, that we're not looking at a rug.
Hair club for men. Yeah. I don't see. Yeah, I mean, he's 74. Look, like this guy here, other guy he's talking to, has like more of an actual natural
he's got like
old man
male
hairline.
pattern baldness with like he's trying to do the
Where
attempted
the fuck
comb
is he?
over.
He's like impossible to see. Maybe.
Well, I mean, they're very wisely not showing much of him, but yeah.
There we go. See, like Stephen King. What you're talking about is like Stephen King probably has this same exact thing going on, but he's like grafted a bunch of fake hair onto that to thicken it up, make it look like he's still got a full head of hair.
Maybe he did the hair transplants route. He got that's why maybe it looks a little strange too.
He gets it in this cool like black and gray pattern too to make him look more spooky. You know what I mean?
I'm a spooky boy.
It's a rug.
So, his father, Donald Edwin King, was a seaman.
What was his mother?
She was a housewife.
She was a shaman.
But King's father abandoned the family when Stephen was just 2 years old.
What a piece of shit. What a dumb idea, too. What a fucking stupid choice.
It's like, my child, this little piece of shit won't amount to nothing. I'm leaving. Oops. But then again, maybe if Stephen King's daddy had stayed, Stephen never would have fucking become the horror writer that he was.
That's true.
You know, maybe the daddy issues were part of what needed to happen. So Stephen King never really had much of a relationship with his daddy. With no one to support the family, Nellie, Stephen, and David, which is Stephen's older brother, moved from place to place, living with relatives across the country. In only a few years, Stephen had lived in Illinois, Wisconsin, Indiana, Massachusetts, and Connecticut. So this family was basically, once the breadwinner was gone, they just bounced around from place to place looking for some kind of fucking arrangement.
Well, the life he had, I mean, undoubtedly, if he had a more stable life, I mean, I think that's a really strong question is whether he ever would have ended up in the path he did. Because, I mean, look, early on in his life, getting a lot of different experiences with a lot of different people, which is very formative, especially these very formative years of his life.
So when Stephen turned about 11, his family moved back to Maine, to Durham, so that Nellie, his mother, could take care of her parents until their deaths. Apparently they were getting quite old and infirm and stuff, and she had to go take care of them. Nellie became a caretaker for the mentally retarded. Well, not really the fucking term I guess we use anymore, but whatever. Yeah. After the deaths of her parents, basically in order to pay those bills. She became like a caretaker for like, you know, mentally handicapped people or whatever the fuck. So King attended Durham Elementary School. He already looks like Stephen King, by the way.
Yeah.
And
not all celebrities look like themselves when they're kids, but he already, I would know who this is.
And just looking at this, I know why every Stephen King story has a pathologically evil bully in it.
Yes. Right?
I just don't even have to.
Fucking pure evil bully fucking...
I mean,
with no redeeming character traits, did the horrible stuff he did.
I mean, he was going to school in the 1950s. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
He was getting fucked on every day.
For sure. Yeah.
So he went to Durham Elementary School, graduated from Lisbon Falls High School in 1966. So he began writing for fun while in school. He was highly interested in EC horror comics, including Tales from the Crypt. He also sold original stories to his classmates based on movies he had watched. He was forced to return profits after his... Why? Wait, why was he forced to return... I wrote this story. I want to pay you for that. Nope. That's a scam. Wrong, Steven. Showing fucking ingenuity and drive. Punished. King studied at the University of Maine from 1966 to 1970, earning a Bachelor's of the Arts degree in English. He worked many jobs to pay for his schooling, including working as a janitor, gas station attendant, and laundromat worker. So not born from a privileged place. Quite the opposite. Came up in really pretty close to abject fucking destitution, with his mom struggling to pay bills, and the only way he's able to get an education is by doing the stereotypical working 3 jobs kind of shit.
Truly the humble origin story for sure. I mean, it wasn't someone that came from any privilege. I mean, probably, like you said, lower than average.
Mm-hmm. Not from a happy place. So Steven... Love this mustache.
Dude, he looked way better with the mustache. He should have kept
the mustache, bro. What the fuck?
Very 70s, dude.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it would have served him well.
It should have become his signature thing.
That next what if, Paul's got to be like, what if Stephen King had kept his mustache? King attended... Oh, I already read that part. So he met his wife, Tabitha Spruce, now Tabitha King, I guess, at the university's library during a workshop. They wed in 1971, have never separated. So they've been together for long-ass time.
Forever.
71 to 2021.
50 years.
Fuck.
Forever, dude. That's like the fucking platinum anniversary or some shit.
Yeah, that's crazy shit. They went on to have 3 children together. Joe Hill King, who is also a writer, doesn't write under the King name, though, writes under the Joe Hill name. Owen King, who I think also writes, and Naomi King, who I'm not sure about. But she very well might be a writer as well, because when your dad's Stephen King, you kind of got the golden ticket, right?
Right.
Yeah. Let's be honest.
The fuck is this? It's worth noting that it is speculated that Stephen King had an affair with Whoopi Goldberg in the early to mid 90s, around the same time Whoopi was dating Ted Danson. So I guess there was the rumor mill. So maybe 50 years, not all super, maybe there was a little bit of getting a little Whoopi on the side,
I need to know who cucked who, dude. Who cucked who? Who cucked you? Who cucked you, dude?
Between Ted Danson and Whoopi Goldberg. Ted Danson to Stephen King?
Yeah, dude. Did Stephen King cuck Danson, or did Danson cuck King?
Well, considering that Ted and Whoopi were in that relationship, I mean, they're publicly together, so Stephen King cucked Ted Danson in that case.
Imagine
if it's true, but it's just a rumor, so
dude, it's true. He gorilla dicked it, dude.
You know how I know it's true? Because who would make it up? You know what I mean? Like,
fucking Stephen King steals women from people. He's a dick.
It's too fucking...
Wait a minute. What?
Whoopi Goldberg, if you're going to make up a lie, would you ever you would never make up the lie that Stephen King and Whoopi Goldberg had an affair, because people wouldn't believe it.
You also wouldn't make up that Stephen King beat you. Like, who beat you? Was it some Don Juan-esque figure? Like, no, Stephen King.
Stephen King,
fucking Whoopi
rich as fuck. Rich as fuck, but not a looker.
He did
it. Getting Whoopi from Whoopi.
He tagged it. Maybe he had a total rivalry with Ted Danson we didn't know about,
Yeah. It wasn't even, he didn't even give a fuck about
King,
Whoopi.
You're not the king of shit. Must be the king of that pussy, baby.
Hey, Ted Danson, remember who's king of this Whoopi, bitch? Anyway.
How taste my PP, Danson. Oh, shit.
After graduating college, Stephen had held a certificate to teach high school. Wow, what a fucking worthwhile career.
Sounds like a dream.
He could not find a job, though. He
Goodness.
supplemented his income by selling short stories to men's magazines, such as Cavalier for peanuts. Life was not going too well for King. He was even arrested for stealing traffic cones. He stole several traffic cones after he was angered that one of them damaged his muffler. Eventually, he got a job teaching at Hamden Academy in Hamden, Maine. While he was a teacher, he, of course, continued to write because he's like, well, teachers don't get paid shit. So I think I'll keep doing this writing thing on the side.
He didn't immediately give up on his dreams and settle in for a life of horrible work that he hated, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Correct.
Weird guy. Weird fucking guy. You know what
a weirdo. He didn't want to teach high school in bumfuck Maine the rest of his life.
I mean, dude, I got to be honest with you. After working in the school district, at least anecdotally in the area I worked in, it's more common than you think for there to be like these people that have been teachers for fucking as long as he's been married to his wife.
Look at this.
Hated it for fucking 50 years.
Look at this fucking picture.
That's awesome, dude.
He's got a fucking... he looks like a goddamn caveman, okay? His teeth are fucked up. He's clearly fixed those since then.
If the headline was like, caveman emerges from cave, I'd be like, oh, damn, really?
He's got a fucking unibrow from hell.
Yeah, just like fag.
He looks like the the caveman Unabomber. Like he's the Unistoner or something.
Go rogue.
Man, I was going to say that Stephen King should... grow a beard, but now that I've seen him with one,
nope.
The mustache is the least weird he's looked.
A former columnist for the Maine campus and UMO graduate made his debut on the big money literary scene, the campus learned last week. Stephen E. King, author of the popular campus column of the late 60s, King's Garbage Truck, learned last March that Doubleday & Co. Inc. purchased the hardcover rights to his novel Carrie for $2,500 plus royalties on sales. Doubleday expects to publish the hardcover version of the novel, which tells the story of a high school girl with telekinetic powers. And they had to explain what telekinesis is because I guess people weren't super familiar yet. Ability to not really spiritually, cause objects to move. King jumped into the big money bracket last week, however, when he learned that from Doubleday that New American Library purchased the paperback rights to Carrie for a reported $400,000. King has been guaranteed 50% of that figure plus royalties on sales. The paperback edition is expected to be published sometime early in 1975. Currently an English instructor at Hamden Academy. King is a 1970 graduate of UMO holding a BS in education. Prior to the sale of Carrie, he published several short stories in Cavalier and Atom magazine. So this is for a guy that has literally struggled his entire life. Obviously a fucking huge watershed moment because, all of a sudden he's just in the money.
Right.
He's got... this is a dude who fucking never had a fucking pot to piss in. All of a sudden, he's got fucking $200,000 from.
Was this just a college paper?
Gig.
Was this a college paper? So, I think it'd be interesting to because I'm assuming there's probably not a lot of Stephen King's Garbage Truck still available out there, but
maybe
it seems.
Hold on, I'll see if I can find it.
It seems like it might be like some really early examples of his writing kind of taking shape that would be interesting. It'd definitely be interesting to ask him about it, in an interview or some shit.
So yeah, there's some, I can find some. Here's at least one. It's
King's Garbage Truck here.
See if it's actually legible. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, you can read it.
Okay.
I like the name.
Here, I'll show you. Why not? We got a moment.
King's Garbage Truck.
Keep your city clean.
Let's see. Boom. And all at once it's summer. The lilacs are blooming in front of Stevens Hall. The cheapy motorcycle movies and sex and violence flicks are blooming at the local drive-in. Girls walk around in pretty summer dresses and wish they'd left their girdles home. The sprinklers on the mall whirl merrily away. Birds sing. Service in the den is slower than ever, but things are generally pretty groovy.
Okay, I know when this was written.
Yeah, man. I'm fucking Stephen King, bro.
I mean, dude, if people liked it, it was his first little taste of like critical writing success.
You already hear his voice in it.
Yeah, I can definitely hear his. I don't know what you would call it. The Stephen King lingo, I guess.
Yeah, the Kingo.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fucking subject is. I don't think we need to read the whole thing, but
no, it'd be pretty interesting. I might do that on my personal time. Like, look up as many of these as I can look up and see if there's any.
This is the only one. Well, no, here's a few more. Yeah, it looks like you can dredge a few of them up.
I wonder if he's
I don't know how many
collected some of them and sold them or something as a collection. I'll look into it. Be interesting to see.
Yeah, it looks like there might actually be a book that collects some of these. Now that I'm looking around.
Neat.
Yeah, interesting thing to delve into. But yeah, so Stephen, obviously, Carrie, like I said, changed his life. One day in the 1970s, early 70s, King began writing Carrie on his wife's portable typewriter. He thought the story was garbage, so he tossed it into the fucking trash can. He's like, this fucking sucks balls.
Yeah.
His wife, Tabitha, took the pages out of the garbage can and told King he needed to finish it. She's like, dude, you need to finish your fucking what you start. Go ahead and finish this story. So Carrie, of course, if you don't know, is a story about a high schooler with latent telekinetic powers that develop throughout the course of the book. She has a crazy religious mother. She's bullied in school, Anyway, so after finishing the book, New American Library bought the publishing rights for $400,000. 200,000 of which went to fucking King, and then it's all pretty much fucking gravy from there, at least in terms of like all of his financial problems are over.
Sure.
Not to say any of his other problems are necessarily done, but
at least in the short term, even back then, you could spin that up. But
is there any idea why they would be willing to pay King? Was it just like the people just thought he was so immensely talented that it was like it's just worth it to pay this guy?
They just fucking knew.
Carrie was. I remember my dad was super into this. My dad's a long time Stephen King nut. Read every Stephen King shit. And Carrie was huge when it came out. It was like a horror novel that everybody was reading. So it was like the It novel. So his next fucking it right. It went so I mean, but like
they probably just knew what they had. They probably just like realized like this is fucking.
Well, everybody was optioning his. They were trying to option his future. They're like, look, dude, if this guy he might flash out, but if he doesn't, and he produces another Carrie. Which he did.
Oh yeah,
right. So they recognized the promise and they wanted to fucking get the hooks in, and they nice big paycheck is a fucking quick way to do that. So very shortly after, the first motion picture based on a book written by King was released. So basically, like it's almost like an unbelievable fucking success story.
Right. It just immediately he tries to put something out and it's huge, and it like literal months after the book comes out, they're making the movie of it, and the movie's out a year later, and he's got options on the movie, obviously.
So, the film was Carrie. It was a huge success, made $33.8 million against a $1.8 million budget. Huge fucking hit. King was only 26 years old at the time, and he was paid $2,500 for the film rights.
My God.
He was able to get better deals after that.
Damn.
I'm sure.
Carrie is the book that brought King to the forefront of American culture.
Yeah.
Here is, we can not really probably play the audio, but we can take a look at some of the trailer footage from Carrie here.
Yeah. I mean, Carrie is a movie that, I think a lot of people that saw it years later, if you ask them like, oh, what do you remember about Carrie? They remember the final scene of Carrie,
I mean, like many horror films, it kind of builds to a insane crescendo.
It does a really good job of slowly upping the pressure and slowly but surely revealing little things. And by the end, you get this really satisfying, super memorable, conclusion finale.
They're all going to laugh at you, and it has one of the jumps. I think that this movie actually contains the jump scare that got me the most of any jump scare ever did.
Which one?
It's the one at the very end of the fucking movie when I think it's Sue Snell is the name of the character, if I'm not mistaken. But she's visiting Carrie's grave.
Oh, Carrie's hand comes up.
Oh, Carrie, shit, blah, 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 you poor motherfucker. And then, blah, it's like, blah, okay.
Yeah.
Crazy shit. So, yeah, I definitely remember that. So shortly after the release of Carrie.
Oof. Wait, Steven.
Oh no. he looks like a seaman here, dude.
Man, he's really struggled.
You know what he kind of looks like?
He's not
here?
sure what to do. He looks like he looks like as a guy that just drew on a fake beard because it doesn't even look like hair.
You're right.
You're right. It literally looks like he's a guy that just painted on a beard.
Yeah, you're right.
But what were you going to say?
He kind of looks like Matt Jarbo, dude. He kind of looks like mundane Matt.
I don't really see it, but maybe.
Little mundane Mattish, dude.
So shortly after the release of Carrie in 1974, King's mother passed away due to uterine cancer. The devastating loss of his mother had driven King to drugs and alcohol. King was drunk while delivering the eulogy at his mother's funeral. Although his career had taken off with books being adapted into major motion pictures left and right, Stephen King was mostly out of it. From the mid-70s to 80s, King was addicted to all sorts of drugs, including cocaine, prescription medications such as Xanax and Valium. He would even ingest large amounts of NyQuil, Robitussin, and mouthwash. I remember reading some stories, particularly about Stephen King, his wife removing all the liquor from the house. So he's like, fuck you, I'm going to drink the mouthwash then, because he's that desperate to fucking get out of his own sober head. He wants to be in that drunk space, So seriously in the grips of alcoholism, and obviously some other drug addiction.
I mean, that's basically like all that childhood trauma and all that shit just coming out. That's like, okay, my mom is dead, now I have to actually deal with all this horrible shit.
You got a guy.
Think about someone
he's literally got everything in the world going for him. He's rich. He's like literally the carte blanche writer of the world, and he's trying to destroy himself. You know what I mean? Right.
And I mean, like, think about too the life that he had before, and then just all of a sudden you got all this money.
Yeah.
Right. And he's probably a dude that probably did some drugs casually here and there to like, oh, it's an escape. But now he's got money, and now the excess comes out. And
of course.
It's like,
and it happens to so many people because no one's going to say no to you. You're this fucking super famous, well-respected person. If you want fucking Xanax or whatever the fuck, you're going to get it.
Yeah. You're at industry parties all of the sudden and shit. And you're.
So King has stated that some of the books that he wrote during that time period, he barely has any memory of even fucking writing them, like Cujo in particular. Which to me seems like that's it's.
Yeah,
Cujo. Cujo is a pretty fucking terrifying film.
Yeah, the movie it works better as a movie.
Way better as a movie than it does in a book. Yeah,
because the book it's just like, okay, we get it. There's a dog outside the car. What are we doing?
Almost better as a short story, in my opinion, if it was going to be done at all.
Yeah, and it's really ponderously long and like full of like all this meaningless filler and digression, which some Stephen King books, the filler kind of shit almost works because it just fleshes out the world and stuff more. But
then it's not filler, like it is filled with all this like background radiation and background information and historical stuff from Derry and
super cool.
You know what I mean? All of that stuff just kind of feeds the realness of the place. So even if it is kind of a digression, it's still,
it's minutia world building. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a point. I mean, some scenes might seem pointless just on the face of it in the grand scheme of advancing the main plot, but you're playing a video game. Like the side quests and stuff give you more of a flavor of what is going on there.
Right.
Cujo, not to digress too far into Cujo, but Cujo is also an example of the type of horror movie that almost wouldn't work now, with like everybody having multiple cell phones and shit. And it's just like,
you'd have to come up with some lame contrivances to make it
cell phone service,
or just set it in the time period. Don't try to make it in 2021.
Yeah, for sure.
In the late 80s, Stephen had enough. He's like, I'm bad. I'm not doing good. So he quit all drugs and alcohol. It stuck though. He did remain sober. He's not had at least to public knowledge any sort of remission back into.
That's really amazing if true. There are chances that he's struggled here and there, maybe relapsed a few times, but you don't tell the fucking world at large about that.
I used the wrong word. I meant relapse. I said remission. Sorry.
Or whatever it is. I guess it both maybe works, but your relapse is what they would say, or falling off the wagon.
Yeah, but as far as we know, he's never done that. If he has, he's gotten back on. So,
good for him.
So the first novel he wrote after getting sober, unfortunately, was Needful Things. So, you know, it's the one I've really I've struggled the most to. I mean, like, I've read a bunch of Stephen King books. It's the only one I've ever been like, I just can't get into this one. But you know, hey, he's trying to learn how to write sober. So
I read Needful Things because my dad had a collection of the older Stephen King books. He bought he had a ritual. He would buy every one on paperback as soon as it came out, and he'd read it. So he had a stack of every Stephen King book, and I'd read my way through it by, I don't know how old I was, 10 or something. And I got to Needful Things, and he was like, "You'd skip that one."
Yeah.
And I was just like, no, I'm going to try it. I'll read it, whatever. I liked everything else so far. And he was like, whatever. And I read it, and I was like, man, Dad was right. I got to skip this one.
I could have skipped it.
But I read the whole fucking thing. Probably out of stubbornness, I would say.
Yeah, I read about 50 pages, and I'm like, I am not vibing with this one. So, I mean, a cool concept, but I don't know if I'm liking this execution.
It has some moments that are okay, but overall, not one of those
I will
best
say
books.
The movie Needful Things, while not a good movie, does contain one of the coolest fight scenes I've ever seen. So, at least that came out of it.
That's true.
There was two crazy bitches that fight to the death for really not much of a reason, but just, the devil has fanned the tensions between them. Anyway, this is Stephen King on Letterman promoting Creepshow in 1982.
Cool.
He was a
time. It's all right. We chatted. I guess the fire starter had just been issued,
right.
and that
right.
Yes,
Right.
I'm here to murder people. Yes.
Dealt with people who had
that beard, dude. I'm starting to think maybe it's not a rug, dude.
Yeah,
you know why?
Because weird,
that beard has an artificial quality, and even his hair does.
It does,
so,
yeah. So either he's been wearing a rug for a long time.
Yeah, that's one possibility.
Or a lot of people go bald in their 20s and shit. So maybe that he's one of those, or he just has rug-like hair.
This is very strange.
Yeah, his hair is very
synthetic-looking hair.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of different hair types. He might just have a hair type that we don't commonly see.
It's an unusual one.
It looks like a horse hair. It looks like a horse tail.
Yeah. It really has a strange quality to it.
Kinesic powers.
Pyrokinesis.
Pyrokinesics.
You get hot. That's. Basically it.
And that means you can start fires just by thinking about them.
Well, it really apparently happens. I don't know why we're talking about this, but people do burn up, and
I kind of dispelled that, Stephen.
Yeah, sorry,
You need to watch my episode.
He didn't have Google and fucking Snopes and shit back in the day.
I'm not talking where I get my ideas. I got that one from the National Enquirer, which for years it's run stories about people who just burn up, and there's a lot of spot heat, and you don't even get that much heat if you're cremated, where there's a guy that has to
dude, you know what this is? This is like, if you're talking about someone who's addicted to shit, it's probably just the fact that people assume those people are always fucked up. It's like they just have a baseline of drug use where it's like, okay, I'll take these drugs to get me this fucked up, but then I gotta go on a show, so I'll take these drugs to make me lucid, and then I'm off that, I'll take these drugs and drink, and I'll do this. It's like, would you really expect him to be inarticulate? I mean, no, that's what I'm saying.
The dude is obviously a wordsmith. I mean,
yeah, he's not going to be someone that's well. That's what I'm saying. But a lot of people would see that as you show up and it's hey, they think every drug person who's addicted to drugs is like that. Or they can't maintain times if they're going to lose control. It's like Stephen, he's not going to lose control before the fucking show. He's going to lose control after the show.
Yeah. Well, let's move on a little bit. Let's move on to the Shinnin. The Shinnin. This was actually the second film released based on a work of Stephen King. Was 1980's The Shining.
Great fucking movie.
Still, in my opinion, the best. By the way,
I agreed.
I don't know if there's one I like better.
It is a good
Shawshank, maybe. I don't know.
I like The Shining more than The Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah,
personally,
I have to say that schmaltziness. I don't know. I prefer the spooky Overlook Hotel. The Shining was based on Stephen's 1976 bestseller of the same name. Stephen King wrote The Shining based on his own internal fears at the anger and antagonism he felt occasionally against his own children. When I wrote this book, I wrote a lot of that down and tried to get it out of my system, but it was also a confession. Yes, there are times when I felt very angry towards my children and have even felt as though I could hurt them. The classic, directed by Stanley Kubrick, is considered by many to be the greatest horror film of all time. It is stored in the National Film Registry in the Library of Congress. Entire documentaries have been made surrounding the film and its hidden meanings and symbolisms. Unfortunately, Stephen King, not a fan of the movie, notoriously, famously, did not like Jack Nicholson as the Jack Torrance character, stating he would have preferred John Voight or Christopher Reeves to play the role, as they were more like an everyman type.
You know, I would say most people giving that criticism, like, I didn't like it, I would just say, well, they're outright, I think they're just wrong. But when you create something and have a different vision of it, he's one of the few people I could see, like, maybe just because he felt his vision was so much radically much more different than Kubrick's vision, I could see it like as him going like, no, this just isn't how it should have been done. And it's probably also King thinking about, think about Carrie. He was paid $2,500, almost had no, it seems, input on it. This is him probably realizing, like, hey, I can actually affect the way this is, the direction of this work. But obviously, Stanley Kubrick is someone that was not going to let someone else tell him what the fuck he was going to make.
Right. So, Stanley's a true auteur and shit. And, I have not read the book.
There's no proof that he was on the spectrum, TJ.
Oh, sorry.
There's no
Actually, I'm pretty sure there is.
There's
I'm pretty
no
sure
proof.
He was autistic, but whatever.
No, there's no proof, TJ.
But that's not even what I said anyway.
Okay.
Quit it.
An auteur.
Stephen King also hated Shelley Duvall in the role of Wendy Torrance, stating that the character was basically just there to scream and be stupid, and that's not the woman I wrote about. Stephen also didn't like Kubrick's directing. He believed Kubrick lacked religious insight, as Stephen was a Methodist and wrote it from that perspective. Parts of the film are chilling, charged with relentless claustrophobic terror, but others fall flat. Not that religion has to be involved in horror, but a visceral skeptic such as Kubrick couldn't grasp the sheer inhuman evil of the Overlook Hotel. So he looked instead for evil in the characters and made the film into a domestic tragedy with only vaguely supernatural overtones.
I don't agree with that assessment.
Yeah, I don't know how he watched the movie and came to that conclusion, but whatever.
It's 100%.
Well, hold on. The quote continues.
Okay.
That was the basic flaw, because he couldn't make the film believable to others. What's basically wrong with Kubrick's version of The Shining is that it is a film by a man who thinks too much and feels too little, and that's why, for all its virtuoso effects, it never gets you by the throat and hangs on the way real horror should. Stephen King. Yeah, I think you're too close to this one, Steven.
Yeah, that's what
I don't think you see this one clearly. Obviously, like, he did some things that irked you personally about the story, and like you haven't been able to get over it.
It's like great civilizations. Like, that's like looking at the fucking Colosseum or the Sphinx and going, "Oh, what are these civilizations really offer the world?" That's almost how I feel like this. Like, you're taking a film that almost frequently is number one on a fucking horror movie website list. Talking about publications that have agreed with it. I know it's an appeal to popularity, but I'm just saying, like, if you ask the average person the best fucking horror movie, or at least in the top 10, and that's where you're going to get The Shining.
Clearly, this motherfucking movie has resonated with people on a fucking strong.
There's endless
fucking level.
videos on YouTube and other social media platforms speculating about this fucking film to this day.
Look how many times it's come up just in our content ambiently. You know what I mean?
Know. Like, this film is like
whether we're
so
talking
important
about something adjacent or not, or something as broad as the concept of a horror movie, or talking about other horror movies. There's probably 100 times just on this show that we've referenced or talked about The Shining. Right. So it remains one of the most culturally accessible horror films ever made.
I have not read the book. My wife listened to the audiobook, and she's a big fan of the movie as well. I think it's actually might be her favorite movie. And she says, like, a lot of the fucking hullabaloo about, like, the tremendous differences between the two is, like, kind of overblown. Like, a lot of stuff that's in the book is in the movie.
It's true.
And really, it's more faithful than a lot of fucking other Stephen King adaptations that he has no problem with. So I don't know. Maybe it was just the very personal nature of the story, because it sounds like a pretty intense thing he was working through there. Like,
I want to kill my kids.
I hate my fucking kids sometimes, and I want to fucking kill them. Yeah. And it's like, not a lot of people are willing to necessarily go to that place inside themselves. So maybe it was just like this super personal thing, and he's like, and no one could have done justice to it for him. I don't know.
The thing that weirds me out about it is him saying, he took a story about an evil place and turned it into a story about evil people. And that really, like, I'm like, what? because literally, like watching Kubrick's Shining, it's a story about the Overlook Hotel. You know, it's definitely a story about Jack Torrance and him being open to that corruption that it gives him. But there's clearly something in that hotel that's pushing him towards that brink of madness.
How many times in discussions of this subject have we talked about the Overlook Hotel as a character in the movie?
Right.
Like, it feels like a character. It has a personality. I mean, and so to say that it's just like, well, he turned it into this thing that's only vaguely supernatural, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's like, how's it?
The guy literally, like, there's a 15-minute like segment where the guy interacts with nothing but ghosts.
I know. And like blood pours out of an elevator and like there's ghosts everywhere and there's fucking.
Here's a test for you guys. And this is really just a testament to this movie.
Yeah.
How many times do you have people say the movie is better than the book? It's not often. And this is a case where most people, I think, agree that they'd rather see the movie.
Maybe that's what sticks in his craw more than anything. I don't know.
I think just in those mediums, it is a superior representation of that medium. And I think that's probably why King is irked by it.
Yeah, I mean, I can see, look, some of his criticisms I can kind of see. I mean, especially when it comes to, you know, how the character of Wendy Torrance was written in the movie and stuff and how she was portrayed. I can kind of see if he wrote a stronger female character, which I guess he did, him being kind of like, that's stupid. But I don't know. It seems like a nitpick at the end of the day.
You want to know what I think it really was?
Unless you're going to go like all super ultra feminist over it.
I honestly think it was just fucking like basic ass bravado. Like male machismo shit. It was because it became Stanley Kubrick's The Shining and not Stephen King's The Shining.
Yeah, just minds. Like when you took ownership of this from me, and now I don't. Yeah, because I hear The Shining and I think Stanley Kubrick before I think Stephen King. So
sure,
yeah.
And that's probably what's stuck in his craw, and that's probably why I've heard at least that in his older age he's softened on The Shining.
So yeah, we don't really need to watch a Shining trailer, but here's 10 of the big differences that exist between the two.
So yeah, because
you want like a stronger grasp.
I know some of these, some of these are pretty apparent because I've read the book. So
yeah,
okay, sure.
Like the hedge maze or whatever the fuck is not in the book. There are hedge animals in the book.
Yeah. So the very different nature of the haunted hotel or whatever. In the book, The Shining, it's very clear in Stephen King fashion that the Overlook Hotel is haunted. There are ghosts, things that go bump in the night, and even topiaries. I don't know how that word is.
Topiaries.
What it even is. Topiaries in the garden come alive in the book. The supernatural is very apparent and very real in this version of the story. It is the ghosts and ghouls that drive John mad. In the movie, the nature of Jack's descent into madness is much more ambiguous and seems to all take place as I mean, that's one interpretation. I'd say I don't agree with this one necessarily. I mean, there's at least one event in the fucking movie that's inarguably supernatural. How would he have escaped the freezer? Because it was locked from the other side.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So I mean, like, there's at least one indication that this is real events, and also
Danny unlocked
that. Danny telepathically communicates with the fucking guy.
Or
how did that guy get that information? There's plenty of
across the country.
I don't think that it's like as vague as you think.
I've
think
actually heard
pretty
people
strongly indicates that there was a real supernatural presence.
I've actually heard people say that it's totally possible that Danny could have run down there and undid the lock himself.
That is true. But like it's open. Yeah, I guess it gets more it's more open to interpretation. But I think that this thing where it's like, oh, it seems much more like it's taking place in his mind. It's like,
because at that point in time, like Wendy is trying to desperately to fucking call that radio and shit, and she finds out he guts it, and like that would give Danny, who's shown throughout the whole movie, tottering around the whole place, to run in there and like let his dad out or whatever the fuck.
The main characters' writing projects are different. In both the book and movie, the main characters are writers struggling with writer's block. Wow. Wonder who that's supposed to be. That's pretty much where the similarities end in that respect. In the book, John is a playwright who abandons his original play and begins writing a story based on the history of the spooky hotel, the Overlook. In the Stanley Kubrick's movie, The Shining, whatever Jack's intending to write is never really defined. It's discovered later in the movie to be he's actually been writing, the all work and no play. Yeah. John's motivation in the book for his book is different. Again, in the movie, it's unclear what Jack is trying to write other than being a novel of some sort. In the book, John's motivation for writing a book based on the Overlook comes from a scrapbook that he finds. The impact of that scrapbook on John's psyche is a major subplot of the book. The ghosts in the hotel, and this is all stuff that was probably just cut out for time, right? These are not really major changes.
A lot of
to the
it,
fucking stuff. I mean, like,
well, and you see that
they didn't want to fucking have the part where he finds the overlooked hotel scrapbook and becomes obsessed and whatever the fuck.
I mean, this list so far just kind of reveals how nitpicky fucking.
Yeah, the famous twins are not in the book. Okay.
I mean, yeah, but so what we're saying is a lot of the iconic shit is directly from Kubrick.
Bleeding Elevator's not in the book. Kubrick invention.
Like the all work. Yeah, obviously
this is like these. By the way, probably the two most iconic visuals of the movie.
Yeah,
the twins in the hallway and the bleeding and the blood out of the elevators. All work and no play. No play makes Jack a dull boy is not in the book, and it's another inspired Kubrick choice. Hedge Maze is not in the book. So a lot of the fucking most famous iconography in the movie is just like not in the fucking book. Here's Johnny, not in the book. Main characters' deaths are completely different. So this is actually probably the biggest real difference between the two. So very famously in the movie The Shining, Jack freezes to death after being unable to catch Danny in the maze. The iconic shot of a frozen Jack Nicholson has become one of the most enduring and memed images in cinema history. And it is pretty fucking...
It's meme-worthy, but in the context of the movie, it's pretty good.
In the book, John doesn't freeze to death. Instead, he is lured into the boiler room of the Overlook Hotel and blown up. So it's pretty much the opposite way to die from the movie, but both ways work. So another difference is that he was actually trying to like save his family at that point.
Right.
Like he had realized the grip the Overlook had on him and was like trying to save them.
Whereas in the movie, obviously, that
he never has that come back to Jesus moment. And then, of course, we've already kind of gotten into the characterization differences.
He was trying to save Danny in the movie, man. He just kept saying, I'm not going to hurt you, Dan. Come on.
You're right. I need to pay closer attention when I'm watching movies. That's true.
He was trying to save him, man. The fact that he had the axe doesn't, and he was dragging his leg and smiling like a maniac.
Well, that's true. He never intended to hurt them. He intended to kill them. He doesn't want to hurt them. He just wants them to be dead.
He wanted to correct them, Scotty.
They should be. They should be corrected.
Corrected, Scotty. So let's talk about some of Stephen King's. Let's see here. Did I skip the thing? No, I didn't. Okay. As of 2021, King has written 62 novels, 120 short stories, and 5 nonfiction books. So here is a bibliography, A to Z. I think I'd rather see it by published date, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oldest to newest. So you see here some of the early stuff, the short stories, most of which have never even been put into a collection.
Yeah, all uncollected.
Just like published in like magazines and shit.
Yeah.
And that pretty much happens. We don't even know a date on these, I guess. Earliest one we have is 63.
As far as published, it's
as far as published goes, Carrie. So this is when his career really takes off. All this stuff is just like him writing for magazines and shit. Yeah. And then you get to where was Carrie?
Go up.
I've fucking here we go. There's too much shit. Quit writing so much, you fucking asshole. By the way, trying to fucking write even one book myself, I realized just how fucking massive an undertaking this fucking shit is. Especially while working other jobs. Carrie, Salem's Lot, Rage, which he publishes Richard Bachman, which actually is a book that's pretty hard to find these days because it's about a school shooting before that was really much of a thing.
Yeah.
The Shining. Then you have a bunch of short stories for some kind of collection.
The Stand. That's his next novel, looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Night Shift, by the way.
Yeah, this is all the Night Shift story collection. Yeah. I didn't know they were going to fucking put every short story on here. The Stand, The Dead Zone, The Mist, which was a novella, Firestarter, which is that's a pretty weird little movie. I remember watching that a few times as a kid.
It's pretty good.
Cujo,
Better movie than a book.
Then he starts writing the Dark Tower series.
Never been a fan of the Dark Tower shit.
I find that one divides King fans along pretty fucking rigid lines. I liked them, but I didn't really care for how they wrapped up. So I guess I kind of wish I didn't. Christine, Pet Cemetery. I mean, like almost every one of these you'll notice has been adapted into a film. Very few have not. The Talisman, I don't think there's ever been a movie of that.
No.
Dude, Eyes of the Dragon is a really weird one that I read when I was a kid. It's like a high fantasy. You wouldn't even know it was Stephen King reading it.
Wow.
It's really strange, but not bad.
Shit ton of fucking It.
Yeah.
September 1986. Basically as old as me.
Misery, another
there's Eyes of the Dragon that Paul was just mentioning.
Well, no,
another Dark Tower book.
That's actually the second one. The one I mentioned was up higher.
Oh, was it?
Yep.
Okay. Misery, Tommy Knockers. Ugh. Man, I'll tell you what, it's so weird. When it comes to the Tommy Knockers, there is like a mental block in my mind that will not allow me to retain any information about what even that story is.
Dude, because one of the Tommy Knockers stole your memories of it.
I guess so, because like I've seen the movie at least 2 times, and I've watched a review of it at least 2 times, and I cannot remember a goddamn thing about the fucking thing.
Yeah,
I know there was something with aliens. That's about all I can fucking remember. The Dark Half, I think kind of an underrated Stephen King book, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
I like that one. The Stand, complete and uncut edition.
Dark Half, also a really good movie. Isn't the Dark Half the one with Christopher Walken and the fucking insane presidential candidate that wants to nuke the world?
The Dead Zone.
The Dead Zone. Okay, which one is the Dark Half?
The Dark Half it's your standard fucking writer writes a character like. The character from his books is like coming at him, like he's.
I remember that.
Like he wrote this fucking total sociopathic, crazy, evil character, and like the character comes to life and starts killing people in the real world and stuff, and he's got to stop.
I've never seen it, so
pretty. I mean, there's a movie of that one that's actually pretty cool. That way, that one ends is fucking. Once again, I have to say, dumb.
Yeah.
Basically,
endings are always kind of dumb.
Yeah. So the ending of that book is that a shit ton of birds show up for some reason that I can't remember. And like the birds destroy the house or something. There's like a giant flock of birds that kills everyone, kills the bad guy or whatever. I don't remember, but it's something like that. Dark Tower Wasteland, Needful Things. So finally getting sober. I'm sober now. Here's Needful Things.
Gerald's Game, I've never heard of.
Gerald's Game is pretty good. I guess he figured out how to fucking how to write sober. Bunch of short stories at that point. Dolores Claiborne, pretty good. Insomnia, I've never read. It kind of seems like once he got sober, though, less fucking success and less iconic work. So the fucking moral of the story here is be a drunk.
Oh, the Green Mile.
Well, he did do the Green Mile, so there you go.
Dark Tower's still going on too.
Yeah,
which is pretty popular.
The Dark Tower books got pretty weird around this point too, though. To be honest with you,
Hearts in Atlantis got a movie adaptation. Not a great one, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean it was just a novella, so you know.
A lot of essays. Okay, so
novels. Why are you writing all these essays, Steven?
Dreamcatcher.
I'm a Dreamcatcher apologist, dude.
Are you?
I think that the book is pretty good, and I think that the movie is really good.
You also have Black House. That's another one I tried to read but couldn't get into. I think that was a sequel to The Talisman. 1408 was a famous short story that got adapted into a John Cusack film at some point. Rated PG-13, though. Kind of had to pull back on a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
From a Buick 8, basically Christine 2, less good edition.
And I'll tell you, dude, if you scroll up a little bit, dude, that everything is eventual story collection is pretty fucking good. It has 14.
That is a good one.
I liked all the stories I read in that, I think.
It has a number of really standout stories. The Autopsy Room 4 story is like a story about a dude that's not dead, but
I've always liked his short story collections because they're almost like little. He doesn't really write. It says short story here, But a Stephen King short story is typically like a little mini novel. Like
True.
he doesn't really write like, when I think of a short story, I think like, hey, it's a little 5 to 10 page story. But for Stephen King, it's like a lot of these short stories are like 100 pages. You know, it's like, shut up. It's not a short story at that point. So I mean, like he's even more prolific than you probably imagine, just because based on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like it just goes on and on. I mean, like this guy's fucking. I mean, all he does is write fucking books.
No signs of stopping.
Dude.
I can't keep up with him anymore. Like, and I think
74.
in a certain way, I'm almost kind of like maybe over the way that Stephen King writes books, because the last couple of times I've tried to read one of his newer ones, I think it was what was that, Dr. Sleep, I tried to read.
Yeah, I didn't care for that one either.
And I just couldn't. I couldn't even.
I'll tell you what.
I couldn't get into it. You know.
I'll tell you what. The two more recent books of his that I've read that I thought were good. I read The Institute, and it's amazingly he's published like fucking 50 million things since then, even though that feels really recent. But I read The Institute, and I thought that was really good. And I thought Dumaki was pretty good, and I thought Under the Dome was pretty good. Although I'm on the verge of saying that one maybe was not. It's like right in the middle, maybe, but still pretty fucking decent, especially for a fucking 70-something-year-old. Just like, yeah, I'm a writer.
Tippity type. Anyway. I've written another book. Publish it.
I love to write bookie woos.
He's prolific as fuck. I mean, I don't really know much about King's work, to be honest with you, just besides the movies.
Listen here, Scotty. I'm a book writing man. That's who I am.
But I'll tell you what, he has not really dropped off like other people. Like, you know, he might not be producing the same level of hits, but he's still producing shit.
Let me tell you something, Scotty. You're a stupid son of a bitch. I'm the best writer ever was. I'm at the top of my game.
Well, you know what? I mean, look, you're Stephen King, so you can make
What
your
if
argument.
this bottled water, Scotty, was evil?
Oh, shit, I don't know. What would happen then?
I don't know. Read my 100-page short story to find out.
Have you
I'll
ever
go ahead and do that?
Have you ever thought there, TJ, about what would happen if one of those pieces of acoustical foam on the wall behind you was the trapped soul of a serial killer?
Oh, wow. No, I haven't.
Well,
Dude,
read my new novel coming out tomorrow.
Now you know Stephen
I
King's
just started
awesome.
it right now, and it'll be out tomorrow. It's called Soundproof.
Wow. Sounds
He's
good.
got a fucking corgi, dude.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Hey, you know what? Fuck. Do you ever read the Stephen King story? I mean, he literally has some stuff that is like on like evil sound foam level. There is literally a Stephen King story about a fucking some criminals that are like pursued and killed by a set of novelty chomping teeth.
Yeah.
Walking teeth.
He has,
has a little
the road
literal
virus.
story where that's the fucking that's the villain or the hero. I don't know.
Yeah. He has the road virus short story where that's just a painting that somebody finds at a yard sale that's evil.
He has one. I can't even really shit talk it too much though, because it kind of freaked me the fuck out. But the premise sounds fucking ridiculous. It's a fucking finger that comes out of the sink.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
What the fuck,
feels
dude?
around. And I'm just like, okay, well, on one hand, that's fucking stupid. But on the other hand, that is legitimately fucking creepy. So, okay. I mean, I guess I'm going to give it to you because it is
I mean,
Yeah, that's terrifying.
fucking horrifying.
Yeah,
but
I mean, imagine you're taking a fucking shit or something. You look at your sink and this little like,
it's basically how it is. And then the person's sitting there trying to figure out, like, how could this even be possible? Like, how is, like, is it a giant long finger? Where's the fucking hand? What is this? What's in control of this?
I think that's what makes it creepy is that
Right.
you know, in your mind, you recognize that, you know, nobody can fit their arm in a fucking drain pipe. So it's like, how is this finger in there in the first place? It's just uncanniness.
So anyway, on June 19th, 1999, Stephen King was taking an evening walk in Lavelle, Maine, and a driver named Brian Edwin Smith was distracted by his dog in the back seat and slammed into King. The car was a Dodge Caravan.
ooh.
Stephen King flew 14 feet and landed in a depression in the ground. He suffered a collapsed lung, multiple fractures of his right leg, scalp lacerations, and a broken hip. Originally, doctors were going to amputate his leg. The driver was charged with driving to endanger and aggravated assault. He was sentenced to 6 months in jail, suspended, and had his license revoked for 1 year. To the driver's defense, King was not on the sidewalk and was walking on the shoulder of the road into oncoming traffic. King's lawyer purchased the van that struck King for $1,500 and destroyed it. He didn't want it being sold on eBay. The van was crushed in a junkyard.
Damn.
So I actually know a little bit more details about this. I remember Stephen King tells a great story. I think it's in his book On Writing, but it might be in somewhere else because he's written so many places, obviously. But I do remember him telling a story about this where the guy that struck him, kind of came across him like one of his characters and was like, "Holy crap, you're Stephen King. I like the movie Cujo." Like Stephen King's bleeding on the asphalt, and he's just like, "Oh my God, I've been hit by one of my characters."
Yeah.
And then he's like, "I like how, the little boy lived." And Stephen King's like, "He died in the book." Like laying there bleeding on the asphalt and shit. And yeah, this guy, I guess, was not paying any attention where he was going and shit, and was like petting his dog in the back seat and all this. But sounds like Stephen King shares a little blame too, walking on the wrong side of the fucking road.
Yeah, I mean that's not smart, but it doesn't mean you deserve to fucking
obviously
be run over.
No. So this was a pretty serious injury. I mean, he could have died from this.
Look at oh my God, all the fucking screws in his leg. It's basically his legs being held together.
Yeah. And you do kind of get an idea, I think, about the length of Stephen King here. You can kind of see the height.
Yeah, he's a lanky guy for sure.
The lengthiness of the limbs. Here's a news story from immediately after the accident. Dare keep off drugs. Let me turn this up. Oh, sorry, up. Okay.
This is where the accident happened on this stretch of Route 5.
That was a pretty big shoulder, honestly.
Yeah, he could have easily been walking on that shoulder, right? I mean, it was a lot of fucking shoulder.
Lakeside home in North Lovell.
Yeah, maybe not everywhere.
A witness who saw the whole thing happen helped Oxford County Sheriff's deputies piece together the accident.
Yeah, he was bleeding and he was laying in a heap and it was all tangled up and I could tell his leg was broken,
Chip Baker says he was driving north.
Had to hit Stephen King.
So that's the guy.
That's a witness. That's not the.
I wish it was.
That's not the driver. That is a witness to the crime, basically.
Got it.
And saw King walking south in the dirt on the other side of the road.
It says he was on the dirt here, so hearing conflicting reports now.
That's when he says a minivan, also traveling south, suddenly
so this guy probably
swerved,
drifted,
went off the road.
So I've hard time imagining Stephen King was just walking.
This is saying that this dude swerved off the fucking road, so
that makes more sense. Yeah,
I mean, I gotta believe Stephen King is not gonna be walking on the road.
Yeah, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Yeah, he was probably just.
I think that he was on the road thing is probably like a defense coming out of this dude that hit Stephen King.
Yeah, he was on the road.
He was right in the middle of the road.
The horror writer.
Stephen King is crazy.
As soon as he realized what had happened, he stopped, and I stayed with Mr. King and told him to go get some help and then come back. Deputy
Matt Baker was the first to arrive.
He had been distracted by his dog.
Maine people have weird accents, dude. I never really thought about the Maine accent much before, but like hearing all these people.
What am I hearing? What are you hearing?
Hearing all these people talk like Stephen King.
The New Englander thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really like a strong thing. It's not like something you could do like a Boston, like, hey, some shit like that, or like New York or Texas or something like that. But it's like a real subtle like twang to it.
They do have a twang.
I guess you wouldn't call it a twang because it's not Southern, but
in the back of his van, looked over his shoulder or whatever to tend to the
whatever.
Looked over his shoulder or whatever. The tons of
and
it's almost like a more subdued New York.
Yeah, it kind of is. It's weird.
Struck Mr. King, never saw him.
People who live around here didn't want to say much about Maine's most famous novelist. They say he and his family.
Now, this guy has no accent of any kind.
Well, that's because of this industry.
I am newscaster. I have newscaster accent.
That's essentially.
But they do say they often see Stephen King walking along this.
Well, it's because
road,
these people work in so many different markets. Like this guy's probably not, his end goal is probably not to be doing news in fucking bumfuck Maine.
Yeah,
he doesn't want to be he doesn't want to be the Bar Harbor, Maine fucking guy forever. You know what I mean? He probably wants to go to New York and work.
Sometimes even reading a book at the same time.
Here.
Stephen King is well known and well respected in Maine. He lives in Bangor. For the time being, though, he's being treated at Central Maine Medical
Let's all sit
Center
around and
in
kiss
Lewiston,
Stephen King's ass.
where doctors say
Stephen King is the only celebrity that dares to call Maine his home. Let us now suck his cock.
Hey, dude.
Oh, please, Stephen King, do not die.
TJ, do you want to be a big fish in the ocean, TJ? A big fish in a little pond.
I don't know, Scotty. I don't
I
fucking
think you know. How
know.
Stephen King answered it.
Well, let's be real here. Stephen King's contribution to the world of novels is not, I mean, arguably not his only contribution, but arguably not even his biggest contribution, because there's been a shit ton of movies, which last I checked are more popular than books, based on Stephen King's fucking work. So here is like a shit ton of them. So we've already talked about Carrie and The Shining. Creep Show, which is not even based on like a book or anything of his. It's just like literally he teamed up with George A. Romero of Night of the Living Dead fame. And they both kind of shared a love for these like old horror pulp comics that they read growing up.
Yeah, so they got it made.
And they're just like, we want to do that in cinematic form. And the result is Creep Show, which to me deserves way more than a fucking 6.9, assholes.
Yeah,
Boo!
seriously.
Made $21 million, though.
Dude, I hate
like the template.
I'm gonna tell you my.
I'm just saying, it's just a template fucking horror anthology movie. It's the way it should be done.
IMDb users drive me fucking nuts because
they suck. I don't even look at their shit anymore, dude.
One, they shit on fucking good movies just if they're like cheesy or whatever the fuck. Two, every fucking shows have way lower standards than movies for some reason. I don't know what it is. Like a bad show on fucking IMDb is like 7.8 or something.
They're just typical like no brain people that'll suck up whatever fucking hogwash is being slopped into their trough at the moment, and you know what I mean? They're pretentious and shitty. They're just everything that's wrong with most people that are into movies.
Cujo, 1983, 6.1 rating. I guess we're gonna ignore those though, because fuck those people. I agree with Paul. The Dead Zone, good movie, really good. One of the few movies you'll ever see where Christopher Walken is the lead role.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
you don't really see Christopher Walken in too many leading man parts. This is a fucking great film, and it's really a shame because I mean, like, I know he's unconventional looking and in every other way, but he actually fucking is pretty good in the leading man role.
Hey, man,
he could carry a fucking film.
It's a Cronenberg film too.
Yeah.
So of course you got to have like a weird looking leading guy and a King novel. So yeah, all the stars aligned on that one.
Christine, John Carpenter taking on Stephen King work. I love this movie.
Yeah, it's a good flick.
I like the movie probably better than I like the book, which I've also read. I don't know. There's like some about the way the main character transforms in this movie. It's just like the car manipulates him slowly and just kind of like, I don't know. It's kind of like the same thing the Overlook Hotel does, I guess, where it's like this evil supernatural force brings out the evil in you and like kind of seduces you to its way of thinking.
Look at this time period, dude. It's like it looks like they just knew they made a Stephen King. If they took a novel and made a movie, it's like $20 million guaranteed. Cujo, 21 mil. Dead Zone, looks like it was 20 mil. Yeah, Christine, 21 mil.
Yeah, they're basically like printing money. Because 20 mil, I mean, like that gross is not shit today, but in fucking early 80s, that's fucking big money.
Well, also, I mean, they weren't spending a ton of money. They're probably spending less than $1 million on most,
right?
Maybe $1 million.
I mean, Children of the Corn.
That's where it drops off a little bit.
It did, and it deserves to. Because Children of the Corn, I gotta say, not a very good movie.
Agreed.
Do you know that there are 9 Children of the Corn movies?
I do know that, and I don't know why, and I don't know how. I will say this: I actually, unless I'm remembering wrong, or I just had retarded tastes, which maybe I do and did. Children of the Corn 2: Urban Harvest is actually kind of a more entertaining movie than Children of the Corn.
I've seen a couple of the sequels and the original, and I will tell you that the sequels that I've seen, one of them was Isaac's Revenge, which is like the comeback of the main character or whatever the fuck.
Right.
Yeah.
Is way more, entertaining than the first one is. So
Yeah, I
like
to say
the way the first one starts. The first one is like a creepy opening with the married couple breaking down in the weird.
There's some great
cornfield.
moments in it. Outlander, you know. Firestarter, all right movie. I feel like early Drew Barrymore.
It actually launched her career.
And
launched Drew's career here.
There's some pretty. There's a scene I remember where a guy hands someone. It's a great scene to show the powers that they have. He hands someone like a piece of paper that's like nothing, and the dude looks at it and sees $100 bill. You know,
but diminishing returns, though. I mean, that's only 15 million.
And it's just not as interesting as a concept.
Cat's Eye, I've never even seen. So
Cat's Eye is really good. It's actually another anthology movie that centers around a stray cat that is kind of witness to 2 or 3 different like strange events. One of them is like a goblin that lives in the house that is trying to like suck the breath out of the children or whatever. Some creepy little thing. They think it's a rat or whatever. But it's a little rat-sized goblin, and the cat's the only one in the house that knows about it. It's actually worth watching if you've never seen it. Cat's Eye is pretty good.
Cool.
I've seen it, but it's a long time. Silver Bullet. I watched this one not that long ago, and I'd watch it pretty much. It wasn't. I thought it was the first time, but then I realized halfway through the movie, I have seen this movie before. But honestly, terribly acted movie. Not really good by any actual metric, but pretty fucking good. Just
Silver
like a lot
Bullet
of fun.
I mean, it's a fun werewolf movie. What do you want?
Yeah, you know, it's like it does what it needs to do.
Oh, dude, the next one on Maximum Overdrive.
Silver Bullet, by the way, is the name of the wheelchair that the main character's in. It's kind of like crippled kid versus werewolf movie.
Yeah, it's a neat concept.
Maximum Overdrive, the only movie Stephen King ever directed, and got a lot of shit for it. And honestly, to this day, I don't really see fucking why. It's not even the worst movie that we've seen on here so far. No. In fact, I really enjoy Maximum Overdrive. I think it's cool. I think he did a great job with the technicals of it. And the performances, while not great, they're better than the ones in Silver Bullet.
One of the first ones I ever saw that was like so bad that it was good. Really.
Maximum Overdrive is just a fun fucking movie.
It really is fun, yeah. I'll agree with that. It really is a fun flick.
Stand By Me. This is probably the first one in here that's going to get any like awards kind of acclaim.
Made a lot of money though.
More heartfelt.
Still a horror movie, by the way. Just a more like a less supernatural and more realistic horror movie.
Yeah, more nuanced.
But a really good flick.
It's about facing the inevitability of death, right?
Yeah, it has Will Wheaton in it in one of the rare roles where he's tolerable.
Honestly, Corey Feldman,
Corey Feldman.
Jerry River Phoenix. Only name I don't recognize on here is Jerry O'Connell. I don't know that he went to do anything. Maybe he did.
Jerry O'Connell was the lead in Sliders and a number of other things.
Oh, I like Sliders.
Yeah.
Creep Show 2. Not as good as the first, but still pretty good.
Fun. Yeah.
Return to don't even get out of here. The Running Man. A lot of people don't even know this is a Stephen King adaptation, and really it barely is. But he did come up with the short story that was inspired the film. So
love that movie.
Yeah,
but
I'd buy that for $1.
That's RoboCop.
That's RoboCop.
I'm just fucking with you.
You're a jerk, Scotty. Because I can't hear that and not be like, actually.
Yeah, pretty much.
Actually, Pet Sematary, great book, great movie.
Dude,
yeah.
You see the remake of it?
No.
Yeah, I've seen the remake, and I will tell you this: Pet Sematary 1 and 2 are way better than the remake. The remake is kind of lifeless in comparison. I did not like it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I was wondering if you guys
Pet Sematary 2 is actually a way better movie than most people remember. It's got Edward Furlong in it. I mean, what more do you need to know? There's some crazy shit in there as the dad slowly, like his stepdad slowly becomes a zombie, but they're still living with him. Like he's not fully into a zombie yet, and his mom apparently can't tell the difference. It's some interesting stuff, dude. You should watch it.
I love the fucking baby with the straight razor at the end of the first one.
Yeah, that's pretty creepy stuff.
It's just like, what the fuck is this shit, dude?
Tales from the Dark Side, the movie. I don't really remember. I remember the movie.
Oh, you know what?
I didn't really know Stephen King even had anything to do with it, so I don't know what his involvement was on that.
I think he wrote one of the short stories in it. I can't remember which one it is, but that's a really good movie. I think he wrote The Evil Cat.
Okay.
Oh, the cat the guy's trying to kill.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does kind of have a King feel. Maybe that is the one. Graveyard
Never
Shift.
seen it.
I've actually never watched this. Paul, have you seen this?
I have seen it, but it's been so many years. I saw it back when I was a teenager or some shit. So,
Misery. I've watched this one a few times. I really like
great.
Kathy Bates in this. I mean, there's really not much. I mean, and still a horror movie, by the way.
Oh,
I know a lot of times when a movie reaches a certain level of goodness, people start to revoke horror status from it for some reason.
It's a horror movie for fucking 100%.
Sleepwalkers is ridiculous.
It's got one of the coolest soundtracks ever to a
Does
movie,
it?
though. Yeah. If you listen to the fucking like theme to Sleepwalkers, it's really good. But the movie sucks. It's about cat people. It's not.
Yeah, and it's like literally like they look like furries and shit. It's not good.
I mean, it's a
And they just, like-
pre-furry time, so I mean, but
Yeah.
still, it's pretty bad.
It sucks. Pet Cemetery 2. Paul defends. I don't know. I haven't seen it.
I mean, I'm telling you, it's
forever.
I'm telling you, it's an
back in the
it's
day.
not as good as the first movie, but it's an entertaining movie. You will be entertained if you watch it, guaranteed.
So apparently I was wrong. Children of the Corn 2 is not Urban Harvest. That must have been another one. This Children of the Corn 2 is The Final Sacrifice.
The last one.
Don't know. The Dark Half. I talked about this earlier. Yeah, this was pretty fun. I don't know. I barely remember it, but I remember it being enjoyable enough. Needful Things
Pretty boring.
is a pretty shit movie. It's really overly long. There's a few good scenes. The guy who plays the devil is pretty good, but they use him like way too much. It's almost like they give you way too much of a good thing. You'd think you'd want more of the devil, but really, like, he'd be way better, more sparingly used. There's like every other scene, you see what he's up to. And it's like,
the devil.
here's what's the devil up to now. It's like, God damn, is he supposed to be like working in the shadows at some fucking time?
Max von Sydow.
Yeah,
Very famous actor.
he does a good job,
He's
but
dead
like
now, but
he's literally in like fucking way too much.
Yeah,
he's like, you know, you want the devil to be like lurking in the shadows, not just constantly on screen hamming it up, you know?
It's just because like he was clearly in this cast the best performer.
Oh God, yeah.
But like it's just like it really had nothing else. So it's like, okay, we're gonna rely heavily. You can tell in that cut they kind of had to go with him.
Ed Harris wasn't too bad in it.
I'm not saying he's horrible, but not compared to
Shawshank Redemption, well loved movie. I mean, it's 9.3 on here, and fucking pretty much every critic fucking under the sun liked it.
even the assholes on here like it.
Frank Darabont directed it. He did also the Mist, I think.
Green Mile as well, I believe.
Oh yeah. The Mangler. This is a terrible movie that I nonetheless kind of remember. It kind of has an offensive message, to be honest with you. There's sort of a fucking weird thing where it's like people with missing parts are evil. And it's like, that's an ignorant belief. That'll be proven wrong. And then at the end of the movie, it's like, her hand, like literally the main character, like the girl, the ingenue, the girlfriend, the would-be love interest, like waves to him and she's missing a finger. And it like, she's being really mean to the workers all of a sudden, even though she'd never been mean before. And it was kind of implied like, oh, she's missing a finger. Now she's evil. So you gotta ditch that bitch.
Well, it didn't make any money either. Only 1.78 million.
I mean, it's awful. It sucks balls. It's not a good movie.
I remember Dolores Claiborne being popular somewhat when it came out, but I just haven't really.
Dolores Claiborne is like an actually good Lifetime original movie.
Yeah, I could see that.
It's kind of like subtle girl power, men are evil, but it's like well written in like a Stephen King-y kind of way.
Oh, here you go, TJ.
Here's Children of the Corn 3 is Urban Harvest. Okay. This one is basically where the Children of the Corn in the city.
Yeah, the Children of the Corn invade
Go to the
Chicago.
city.
Yeah.
Oh, God, come on.
It's pretty fucking fun. I don't know. It was at the time anyway. I was fucking whatever age I was at 1995.
Thinner, dude.
I love Thinner.
My mind was changed on Thinner when I rewatched it last year with my wife.
Wait, was your mind changed to thinking it was bad? Because I love it.
I hated the movie when I first saw it. I thought, oh my God, this is not scary. This is. I was a young man though, dude. This came out in like 96, 97 or something. What is it? I can't see. Is it
96?
Yeah. So I'd have been like 16, and so I just remember hating it when I was a kid, and I was like, And then I rewatched it all those years later, and I was like, fuck, dude, this movie is great. Like,
I'll tell you what.
Dude, I love it.
Awesome ending too. Like one of the rare ones I can honestly say that. Like I love the ending to it.
Yeah,
I really do.
Die clean, white man from town.
Not And they, a very good pace to it too. Just like basically what you want from just like this, like almost like Pol Pot. It's like you get it, you get the premise, it happens, fucked up shit happens to the other people too. That fucking, basically are to blame for the death of this gypsy guy's daughter.
I like how fucking crazy. I like his entitled crazy speech where he's just like, "The curse of the white man from town."
Yeah,
and they're just like all like, And it's weird because they were like showing him all this mercy and shit, but earlier in the movie they just like straight up killed some dude who was practically a bystander just for like watching him.
Yeah,
it's like they like ripped his tongue out and shoved up his ass or whatever the fuck. And then
the main character in this, I don't know if his name is Tom Holland. That's the director.
Tom Holland is the director.
I think it's Joe.
Here, I'll go to
John Burke.
I'll go to the page. That's the name of that.
His performance,
Billy Halleck.
Yeah, his performance in this is really what makes the whole movie work. It is so strange. He's like, everybody in this movie grins their way through the movie. If you've ever watched it,
yeah,
like watch it again and you'll notice like everybody just grins, including him. Like as he's made fun of for being fat, his answer is to just grin his way through.
And he's got this really weird fat suit that like does not look real at all.
No, it doesn't. But it does a
somehow
decent
it
job.
like somehow it adds to things that it looks kind of like vaguely fake.
Yeah,
it almost has the fucking. You know what it really has a feel of to me? Like you're watching like a fucking really passionate fucking stage show where everyone's just acting the shit out of it, and they're not really technically the best, but they're just like doing it with such fucking crazy oomph.
Yeah, they're so committed to their roles
that you're just like, man, everyone is like fully committed, and every performance is like a little over the top. I don't know, I love it. The Night Flyer.
I know nothing about.
I kind of remember this.
I don't.
It was like one of the made-for-TV ones, I think.
Yeah, just kind of garbage.
Yeah, demon drives a plane.
I actually liked this one as a kid. That pupil was like, "Oh my god, subvert your parents,
subvert the world." Yeah, it's not very good.
Yeah,
the only thing I really remember,
parents and be educated by a Nazi war criminal.
Yeah.
The only thing I actually remember from this is Ian McKellen trying to shove a cat in an oven to like symbolize that he's still evil or whatever the fuck. I don't know.
Yeah, some like overly edgy bullshit.
Dude, the Rage Carry 2, for some reason, I guess the trailer just really got me. I was like, man, I cannot wait to see the Rage Carry 2. Dude, I was 100%. Dude, I was literally 100% in on Rage Carry 2 hype. Okay,
dude, TJ would always stay up and watch. What was the fucking Joe Bob Briggs
Monster Vision?
Yeah,
dude.
Monster Vision. Like, did you watch Carrie? Like, probably like fucking 50.
Yeah, I saw Carrie. I saw the original Carrie a bunch of times.
So I'm sure that's what it was. You're just like, my God, they're making another Carrie.
They were promoting fucking Carrie 2 on Joe Bob's show. Now that I think about it. And I thought the trailer looked super badass. They had this like really high octane trailer for it. And I was like, man, it's going to be the Carrie from my generation. This is our generation's Carrie. Fucking suck it, 70s Carrie. I was like so hyped for this movie. And I went and saw it. I was like, well, that sucked ass. That was a total fucking letdown. Maybe if I watched it now, I'd think maybe a little more highly of it because I don't have any expectations now other than it being awful, but
probably not.
I gotta say, going in with high expectations, I was really fucking disappointed.
Yeah, kind of unfortunate. I don't know. Anytime I'd see something like 2 at the end of it, yeah. I'm always prepared for shit. You know, sometimes I'm subverted. Sometimes you get a good 2, but.
Well, I was 14, so I guess I was, I don't know. I was 14 and I was a fan of the original Carrie, so I thought, wow, my generation's Carrie.
Dude, I got a hot take on this Green Mile shit.
Yeah.
If I'm looking to curl up into a ball and be depressed about something, maybe I'll watch the Green Mile, but like, you know what I mean?
Oh, shit.
You know, the part about the Green Mile that pisses me off is it's not even really like the dude getting executed or whatever the fuck. It's like the weird, like, punishment that Tom Hanks has to have for doing it, like, because I took something so special from the world, I had to fucking live forever or whatever the fucking shit. And I'm just like, well, that's not fucking fair. This is, first of all, that's his job. Second of all, the fucking magical miracle guy pretty much told him, like, go ahead and do it.
Yeah, like, that's what I want.
Right. You know, I'd rather you just do it. So, I mean, I don't know. Seems like a bunch of bullshit to me. Fuck the Green Mile. I guess it's a well-acted movie and all that, but I agree with Paul. It's like too much for me.
Yeah.
Hearts in Atlantis. Never saw it. Couldn't tell you about it. I don't even know what the plot even is. So
kind of same. I mean, I've seen it, but I don't remember much about it.
Like Anthony
Dreamcatcher.
Hopkins is like a psychic or some shit, or he's
Paul.
like,
You said you're an apologist for Dreamcatcher.
Yeah.
Now, I personally think Dreamcatcher is aight, but I didn't really.
I like it a lot.
What's so special?
What
what makes it stand out for you is like good.
It's well cast.
True.
I think that Timothy Olyphant is really good in it. I can't remember the redheaded guy's name, but I like him a lot in a lot of things. And he plays kind of a dual role as Jonesy and Mr. Gray. So he's got to be this weird alien that's infested this dude's body and that dude. So it's a pretty cool role. You don't see a lot of dual roles in movies like that, and so
honestly, dude, I saw this when it came out, and I haven't really watched it since. And since if this is October, I do need to really watch it again.
I mean, I can't guarantee that you'll like it as much as I do, but I think it's pretty good. It's got the cheesiest thing I think about it is Morgan Freeman's character, but he's not in a ton of it. So Morgan Freeman plays the evil military guy, I guess. That's
you know who he reminds me of? There's like almost the exact same character in the 1980s, The Blob. It's like an old black dude who's kind of like wizened, who seems like he might be a good guy for a second, but then you realize he's like totally evil.
Oh, like the government scientist.
Yeah, and he's like the head government guy that's like there to,
Oh, so it has like a similar arc for that guy,
right?
Oh, okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was still thinking about fucking Dreamcatcher.
We can keep going with Dreamcatcher. I don't care.
I was just gonna say, not to spoil it, I guess spoiler alert for Dreamcatcher, but one of the cool things about Dreamcatcher that I liked was you get this kind of flashback to how this alien virus came to Earth the first time, and it's really cool. Like this ship crashes, and it creates these like representations of little aliens, and they're like, please help us, we're peaceful, we're please, we don't want to hurt anybody, we're injured, please, you know what I mean? And they're like psychically broadcasting this out to anybody who's close enough to the wreckage, but when anybody gets close enough, they turn into the virus and infect them. So I'd never really heard of like aliens like luring people in with like, oh my god, please help us, and like as soon as people come to help them.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah. It's like we're not peaceful after all. Secret Window. I actually liked this movie. I remember liking it at the time. Yeah, I read the story first, and I thought the movie had a way cooler ending.
Johnny Depp is just horrible in this movie, though, dude.
I remember him being fine. I don't know. He was just like it was like a middle of the road Johnny Depp performance for me. I've seen him do worse and more listless. He kind of committed to it and did like some weird Johnny Depp shit.
Another one I saw when it came out, but I barely remember it.
I like the fact that it ended on a much more dark note than the short story.
Yeah, wasn't it like he gets away with it, the murder?
In the short story, they both have the same stupid plot twist. I'm not even gonna fucking do a spoiler alert. It's just like he's the killer.
Right.
It's a split personality story. It's Fight Club, okay?
Yeah.
So it's like whatever. But at least to the fucking movie, they had the balls to have him get away with it. In the book, he's like, oh, we found him out. Gotcha, you son of a bitch.
Well,
and it was basically about plagiarism. It's about a dude that's being like driven kind of like insane by the guilt over he's the successful writer, but he's a plagiarist and no one knows.
Okay.
But it's not a great movie. It's just like I enjoyed it. I haven't revisited it since I saw it in 2004 though. So Riding the Bullet, I have no idea. Either you?
No.
Angular Reborn seems like some shit. 1408. I remember Paul saying you didn't like this one at one point.
I've actually changed my mind on it. I actually watched a video that changed my mind on it, that kind of unpacked what they try to do with the movie that isn't really super insinuated in the short story. Because I'm a big fan of the short story.
Right.
They tried to do like a Dante's Inferno kind of thing, the different layers of hell.
Okay.
Yeah.
In the movie. And I didn't really notice it at first, but it's really true. Like if you watch it, the guy really goes through each level of Dante's Inferno, from the water to the fire to the cold. Like
cool.
All the different, so it's like a little allegory. The movie, now the book, the short story is more of just. I like the short story a lot too, but the short stories has less of that portent to it.
This movie actually fucking contains one of my favorite tropes, and it's actually in a few Stephen King movies, most notably I think in Christine. But there's a fucking part, and I can't remember the exact line he says, but there's a part where John Cusack is interrogating Samuel L. Jackson about this room and its history and stuff, and trying to figure out why it is the way it supposedly is.
There's also
I think he's a skeptic at that point, but
there's also a pretty big miscast in the movie too.
But Samuel Jackson at that point is just like, it's just an evil fucking room, and I love that kind of like, it's just evil.
If you
like
read
the car from Christine, there's no reason for it to. It's not haunted by a ghost or possessed by a demon. It's an evil car.
It's like, this is just like reality. The reality is this place is evil. That's it.
Yeah.
If you read the short story,
you're talking about miscast, right?
Who do you think was miscast?
It's actually Samuel L. Jackson that I think is miscast.
Okay.
If you read the short story, the manager of the hotel, Olin is his name. He's supposed to be this little short, unassuming, balding man who out in the lobby of the hotel looks very like harried and, not all that competent. But that as soon as he gets into his room, he assumes this kind of like, I'm a different person out there in this office. I know everything about this hotel. And so the main character's kind of taken aback by him. And I really think that, like, I don't know. I
Samuel L. Jackson just strikes you as being authoritative right from the start.
Exactly.
Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, that whole thing is kind of lost,
Yeah.
I
love The Mist.
Fucking great movie.
Yep, it's great.
A better ending than the I think it was a short story, wasn't it?
In the short story, the survivors just kind of drive off into the mist to an uncertain fate. So it's like, oh, what's going to happen to them?
And in the movie, it has probably the most doomer ending I've ever seen in a film.
Yeah, it's definitely the most pessimistic possible ending.
Yeah, a lot of great themes, like how people deal with these crisis situations, how a lot of people obviously return to religion.
I tell you what, it has. I don't think a villain has never gotten to me to the point where the crazy religious bitch in the grocery store in The Mist. Like, I've never hated a character in a fictional movie more, and I've never been happier to see them dispensed. So,
well, she's definitely a good villain for sure.
Oh yeah,
no smoking. Haven't seen it.
I've never seen this either. I never even heard of it.
Carrie remake sucked.
I did see the Carrie remake. I thought it was actually pretty good.
You liked it?
I liked the Carrie remake. I thought it was.
I haven't seen it.
It actually, in a lot of ways, stuck closer to the book.
What?
Yeah. Well, whatever.
Oh damn.
I think it was pretty good to me. But I say most people agree with you, Paul. So you're, mainstream Paul with his mainstream opinion. A Good Marriage. Don't think I saw it.
No, nothing
I haven't
about
seen
it.
it.
Mercy, I've never even heard of. Cell.
I read the book. I haven't seen the movie.
It looks like it's really bad. It's got like a 4.4 and a 38.
That'd probably be a pass for me on that one. Okay,
Dark Tower didn't even look good. Was pretty much panned commercially. Idris Elba is not a good actor. Matthew McConaughey.
They need to stop casting Idris Elba.
Yeah, I mean, for a while
it's crazy because
for a while I believed the Idris Elba hype, and then I really asked myself, like, what have I really even seen him be good in? And I just realized, like, Idris Elba is a dude that's talked about as if he's a good actor, but he's literally never had a good performance. So
true.
Go away, Idris Elba. You suck.
Bye, Idris. See ya.
Yeah, and Matthew McConaughey. I've seen him be good, I guess, but I don't know.
Well, this is not a good movie. I mean, like, I've seen parts of it. It's never really appealed to me.
We've talked about it.
Yeah, we're not going to fucking
me and Paul did a review of it on Cinema for Cynics that was like, I don't know, like an hour long or something.
Yeah,
after we've talked about it a million times.
Yeah, you can go find it. Gerald's Game, pretty good. I think actually, another one that I think actually, like, I've read the material. I think it was a short story, and I think it might have been a full book actually.
I guess it's on Netflix, so
but
watch pretty easy if you got Netflix.
I watched this. By the way, this is not a complete list of his fucking movies. Even like, I saw that movie Grass that was also on Netflix. Well,
I actually did. One of the rare times I did see 1922, and I was not impressed with it.
1922, not that great of
it's
a
slow
fucking
and boring.
It's
real slow and pondering.
This one worked better on the page. I did read the short story. It's kind of like the short story is very chilling because it's all inside this dude's head as he like grooms his son to murder his wife and shit, and it's really suspenseful and tense on the page.
But yeah, here it just that I'll tell you what, I've not read the short story. It did not translate.
But in the movie, I don't know, you're too outside of his head, so you're seeing everything from this like clinical outside perspective, and you really don't understand the like trauma and shit involved. But like, this is not even a complete list. I could think of several movies that didn't even make it on here, but I just want to do an overview of like just how many fucking movies have been adapted from Stephen King.
That's a whole lot of movies.
Insane amount of novels, insane amount of short stories, insane amount of movies. Like, he's just like, and there's probably new ones upcoming, right? I mean, like if I type in like upcoming Stephen King movies, there's going to be several.
What about shows? Is Stephen King behind any shows?
Yeah, I mean, the It miniseries that fucking ran back in the 90s. The
Creep Show miniseries
adaptation.
There's
a Creep Show.
I don't think he has anything to do with that, but he probably
he gets residuals and shit.
I mean, he just spawned such a wealth of entertainment for people. Yeah, like when Stephen King is dead, it's like, that's going to be a huge loss in not only the literary world, but just entertainment.
He's got so much shit that they'll just fucking continue adapting it and remaking the adaptations and shit forever. Here's just a brief overview of like stuff that's coming up on TV. Oh, there was another show another show based on Stephen King that I watched recently was The Outsider on HBO, which was pretty good until the ending. Common theme with Stephen King, I guess. Something called The Boogeyman coming out here. I don't know what his involvement there is. Chapelwaite, yet another version of Christine, revving up for a reboot.
Oh, the Dark Half.
Dark Half. They figured, hey, people forgot about this one. Time to remake it. Stephen King, y'all. Drunken Fireworks. I don't know what the fuck this is. Kind of looks sort of fire. Oh, that is because it's fire. That's a picture. Yeah, Firestarter decided, hey, Drew Barrymore fucking did a good job in that 1981, but it's time to fucking.
If they don't cast if the little girl can't carry it, it'll be real shit. Because one of the things that makes Firestarter watchable is the fact that Drew Barrymore was pretty talented for a child actor. So,
From a Buick 8 coming out. Hearts, remember the Hearts in Atlantis movie? For some reason, they've decided let's take another shot at that.
Are they getting Anthony Hopkins again?
No, I think they're just kind of showing what they did with it.
It's got to be old because the person they posited is doing it is dead.
Oh, really? It's only from June of this year.
I thought that guy was dead.
Who?
Anton Yelchin. Maybe it's a similar name to that. I thought it was a dude in Star Trek that died.
Yeah, this is from this year.
Okay, I must be wrong.
So you're thinking of somebody else, I guess.
Similar name, probably.
This is like it's fucking
Institute, like just endless fucking shit being adapted from his work,
all in development.
And
the Jaunt,
he's probably
Joyland, The Long Walk,
books.
Mile 81, Overlook. Wait, what? New streaming platform HBO Max has given a series order to Overlook, produced by J.J. Abrams' Bad Robot. The show is inspired and will feature characters from King's 1977 thriller The Shining. Plans to explore the untold, terrifying stories of the most famous hotel in American fiction.
Damn.
Okay. Revelations, Revival, Sleeping Beauties, Suffer the Little Children, The Talisman. One of the books I said hasn't been adapted yet. They're on it. Throttle, another fucking Tommy Knockers. Maybe I'll actually remember this one. Anyway, I know we've been on for a while now, but the point is that Stephen King is a goddamn cultural fucking force to be reckoned with. Whatever you think about the guy, whatever you think about his work, whatever you think about his talents that he has or doesn't have, I have my criticisms. I think he botches endings. I think his books are stuffed, fucking jam-packed full of filler.
He writes a lot of filler, too. I mean, if we're going to be honest with some criticisms about Stephen King, for every great Stephen King book, there's about 4 or 5, like, middling to bad ones. So,
yeah. But, hey, you know what? He pumps them out.
He cranks
Obviously, even the shitty ones resonate with somebody because it just fucking continues to fucking be hit after hit, adaptation after adaptation, paycheck after paycheck.
I mean, you guys came in this as fans. Like, I'm not saying I hated Stephen King, but I just kind of like whatever. And I mean, just the whole breadth of this episode has just been like, you know what? You're right. Like, there's so many points in my life that Stephen King has been able to make some impact with his literary work or his. Obviously, I love his movies. So, I mean, yeah. I mean, even if despite the fact that I don't really find myself drawn to his work a lot, I mean, he's still been able to resonate at least me somewhat in my life. So, That is an achievement I think very few people could have said they made to so many people. I mean, it's obviously billions of people have read his works or heard of him.
All right,
watched something with him.
Let me just ask you this, Scotty, real quickly. Just name anybody with fucking more IP than fucking Stephen King.
Like I said, I would say Disney, but you're talking about a single person?
Yeah, like a single person with more.
Excuse me.
You're not a person, Mickey. You're a corporation.
Corporations are people. Read Citizens United, bitch.
Oh yeah.
Oh shit, dude.
Of a singular person.
Actually.
I can think of maybe like someone like Roger Corman, but like his shit's not nearly as recognizable.
That's not super commercial.
Right. I mean, he's produced a shit ton of stuff. So, but like none of it's like has insane commercial viability to the level that the Stephen King's library does.
I mean, maybe there's someone out there, but I can't think of anyone.
I don't think there is.
I mean,
I legitimately don't think. I think the answer to that question is Stephen.
I mean,
King.
you're talking about like some shit like inspired by Shakespeare or some shit, sure. But I mean, like you have to go to someone like that has just been around a lot longer than Stephen King and has had their works adapted endlessly.
Yeah, I wonder who could that be? Who is somebody that's been around longer than Stephen King, created more classic works, and owns more IP than Stephen King? Who could it be?
Who could it be?
All right, well, there might be one exception. I don't know, but that's pretty much my Stephen King episode. Honestly, it seems like there couldn't be a sequel to this, but honestly, there probably could. This is just kind of like a very superficial introductory layer thing. I could do a more in-depth one if you motherfuckers are interested. So let me know down below and I'll do it. Or maybe I'll do Stephen King versus Shakespeare, because why the fuck not? Let me know what you want. Just fucking tell me. You command, I shall obey. It's Deep Fat Fried. Peace.